Hey! Often on the channel, we look at some of Scooby-Doo's scariest villains in his expansive rogues gallery that gave you nightmares. Today, indeed, we are looking at a request for one originating from a series we don't look at often here, A Pup Named Scooby-Doo. Previously, we did look at a certain icon, the ghost of Al Capone, but today's villain, if one were to call her that, is none other than Paula P. Casso. Her name being a pun on Pablo Picasso, of course. What probably makes her stand out most to those who fear her, such as Scooby-Doo himself, is her voice, and voices certainly are what this actress would be known for. Pat Carroll, born in 1927 and sadly passing away in 2022 at the age of 95, was an iconic diva with a long and legendary film and TV career. In the 1960s, she was on The Danny Thomas Show, aka Make Room for Daddy, would appear on many variety shows like The Carol Burnett Show, portrayed Shirley's mother on the sitcom Laverne and Shirley in 1976, and so many others. Speaking of that era, in 1963, Carroll filed a lawsuit against Scooby's own studio, Hanna-Barbera, for breach of contract. In the suit, she claimed she was cast and signed on as the voice of Jane Jetson in the studio's iconic series The Jetsons the year prior. And likewise, Maury Amsterdam, who you might know as Buddy Sorrell from The Dick Van Dyke Show, was cast as husband George and was a plaintiff in the suit alongside her. Her contract had stipulated she would be paid $500 an episode, which would be like $5,500 in today's money, with a guarantee of a full 24-episode season. However, she only recorded for one of these episodes before she was replaced, with Penny Singleton taking the role of Jane instead. Some sources say this was due to sponsor conflict regarding her work on Make Room for Daddy, but either way, Carroll's case was closed by early 1965, with the court ruling in favor of Hanna-Barbera. This wouldn't stop her from having an iconic amount of voice roles, however. In 1987, she voiced the highly memorable Grandma Arbuckle in A Garfield Christmas, and again in 1989's Thanksgiving special. What people really know her voice for, however, is the voice-stealing sea witch, Ursula, from Walt Disney Animation Studios' The Little Mermaid, released also in 1989. An iconic role, she voiced the character's sister in 2000, and would continue to voice Ursula in games and TV appearances up until her death, loving the role deeply. But of course, today we're here for one of the times she returned to Hanna-Barbera even after the lawsuit, for her terrifying role of Paula, not to mention the rest of the episode and what it has to offer. Sadly, I do have to use my DVD copy to watch the episode like the prior video on the show. A remastered HD version that actually looks nice, rather than the old one that was really poor, does exist, but it's no longer streaming and you'd have to pay $25 to buy it digitally and not even permanently own it, and I don't think this video will make enough to justify hoping that would work, so we'll have to live with the old DVD look. Let's dive into this sea of mysteries with A Pup Named Scooby-Doo. Today we're looking at Season 2, Episode 7, Doggone Scooby, originally aired October 21st, 1989, a month before The Little Mermaid came out. Scooby-Dooby-Dooby, a pup named Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo. As many good Scooby episodes do, this one opens on a dark and stormy day as we approach the Scooby-Doo Detective Agency's treehouse. So as you might often see when you look at their sign, we need to teach these kids how to spell too, clearly. Inside, the gang are doing what they do best. Fred slacking, Velma sciencing, Shaggy snacking, Daphne appreciating herself, while Scoob arrives up the elevator in his raincoat. Love Scooby shaking the mud off on Daphne and her just calling up a department store for her fashion emergency, and they deliver to the door in 2 seconds even with the elevator and storm. Scooby isn't done being a menace, however, ruining Fred's paper so he can't finish it.
I'll never find out if the mole men conquered the Earth last year.
I don't think they did.
Scoob then goes to talk to Velma, who's trying to turn vanilla ice cream to chocolate, but when he gets a little too excited, she also sends him away. Shaggy's attempting to make a pizza, but as Scoob comes to lick the bowl, he finishes the last of the pizza mix and gets a scolding. Shaggy even points out how busy all of them are, just really nasty and harsh, forcing Scoob to leave feeling like he's unwanted. But honestly, he's a puppy, he's just behaving how you would expect of him. And as he leaves, he has eyes on him.
Oh, that puppy's head is perfect for my project. Oh, I want that head.
Yeesh, so Ursula is on her Cruella side quest today. Later, Shaggy calls for his pup, but there's not a dog to be found as he heads back into their headquarters. Nobody here's seen him either, and they realize they were especially mean and could have found a little more time for him before. It seems today, our mystery is finding where he went, as Fred considers where a dog would go to be alone. Checking his doghouse, they find a note left by the door, Scooby saying he's leaving and nobody needs him. Shaggy falling to pieces is the only appropriate reaction, really. He heads to his police officer dad for help, because remember, he does does have an entire family in this series, including his little sister here, who was previously first seen in the new Scooby and Scrappy-Doo show episode Wedding Bell Booze. Technically, his dad is also just sharing his voice actor Casey Kasem, which isn't entirely unfitting with Mr. Rogers.
Like, that's terrible.
Kasem also voiced Shaggy's father in Wedding Bell Booze as well, and later again in Mystery Incorporated before his death. Mr. Rogers says Scoob hasn't been missing for 24 hours yet, so he can't do anything about it. And while TV shows did often act like that was a standard law for waiting to report someone missing during this era, you do not have to do that and should not let anyone say you do. He at least heads off to tell everyone at the station to keep an eye out, while Daphne comforts baby Shuggy. Fred opens his big mouth to say the search could take a few months though.
Scooby-Doo, where are you? Oh!
Thelma, of course, goes to ask her computer for help, but the AI fights back this time and explodes itself instead, so Fred suggests they get Scooby to use his nose for the search. Shaggy's so upset by this lapse in thought that he sends us to flashbacks for their first ever mystery. Fred warns about the moment as one pops out, but tossing it around, it turns out to be none other than Red Herring, setting Fred up for a lifetime of assuming it's always him under the mask. Shaggy's restless though, so they sit the baby down to go look.
Okay, let's split up again.
Fun fact, Shuggy is voiced by BJ Ward, frequent voice in the series, who previously also voiced Shaggy's girlfriend Googie with an oddly similar sounding name in Reluctant Werewolf a year earlier, and most notably indeed went on to voice Velma herself during the Zombie Island era about a decade later.
Scooby-Doo, where are you?
Speaking of, Scoob is at the butcher's, where Mr. Porterhouse has packed some bones in his suitcase, still assuming this is for something with Shaggy, and filling the puppy with grief. Outside, he runs into none other than Red Herring, who takes the opportunity to bully the friendless dog, just to get instant karma. Scoob unfortunately turns around and bumps right into someone covered in red splotches, the woman who was looking for him before now finding him.
It's your head, you see. I need it. No matter where he hides, I will have his head.
Even with the film technically not in theaters just yet, it's remarkable how much this character trying to get his head sounds like Ursula trying to get Ariel's voice. Back at the treehouse, Thelma has come up with all the areas Scooby commonly goes, so Fred has everyone split up, telling Shaggy to go with Scooby and making him burst into tears. So for once, Daphne suggests they reverse the split up and stay together. Fred then starts imagining the worst case scenarios the poor lost puppy could be in, with the mole men potentially getting him and dragging him off, but then an old woman saves him, but then the old woman also is really Dracula, and then Dracula takes him to the two-headed mummy werewolf, and from there Daphne finally makes him stop, thank goodness. Shaggy is traumatized though. Thelma points out that Scoob left a trail that they could follow, but first Fred suggests they change their agency's name without Scooby, making Shaggy cry yet again. Daphne, please do something. And he's not done because he takes them right to the shower of Red Herring to accuse him of taking the puppy. Though Red at least can tell them that he did actually see him and offer a place to start. At the butcher's, Mr. Porterhouse tells them about what Scooby packed up when here earlier. Enough bones to last a year.
Scooby-Doo, where are you? Hey! This is Scooby's favorite Chewy!
Indeed, Shaggy finds a clue, surprising the others, and even himself. And nearby as well, a green olive and jelly sandwich, Scooby's favorite, likewise for Shaggy. Plus all this junk, no idea how the puppy was carrying this much to also be losing it.
Scooby-Doo, where are you?
Seems Scooby would like to know that himself, looking at a map and compass just to find he's lost. And then this big nasty takes that single suitcase I suppose he was carrying all that stuff in somehow. But jumping into karate action is enough to scare the mud and his goons off. And that terrifying woman offers his suitcase back to him.
Now come along with me, you sweet little puppy. At last, your head is mine.
Scooby cowers in fear of our diabolical Cruella, but thankfully his spirit comes back to save him and run off, hiding as she leaves to track him down. By now, he just wants to go home, but doesn't remember how to get there anymore.
We interrupt A Pup Named Scooby-Doo for this special announcement. If you feel bad for Scooby, you're not the only one. It's breaking me up, too. Thank you.
As the poor thing cries himself silly, Shaggy uses his own super sniffer in place of a pup to do it, and it's taken them to a really spooky area, surprising them that Scoob would go here without a Scooby snack. This prompts Daphne to send us to another flashback, to the first time he tried one, where Shaggy offers him all types of food to get him to behave with no luck. Only when Daphne calls in Jenkins to prepare a Scooby snack, literally baking some from scratch and offering these, does it finally work on him. With there being a clear winner, it does continue that age-old question we all have. Jenkins obviously makes these himself, but is he just making the known recipe and they otherwise buy a version sold to stores? Which is how it usually seems and makes you wonder why they share his name if so. Or alternatively, has Jenkins just personally been making Scooby snacks for him ever since and that's why they have his name? Food for thought, the dog treat variety. Meanwhile, Shaggy gets a strong whiff and starts moving again. And I love this random poster on the wall that just says Halloween with a jack-o'-lantern. They come upon the abandoned suitcase and a red handprint. Perhaps blood, Fred adds, suggesting something most foul.
Scooby-Doo, where are you?
They're interrupted by that nasty mutt from before, and with them advancing and no Scooby, Daphne calls in Jenkins to take care of it, so Dawson comes instead, since he's busy doing her shopping.
Oh, that is much more important than this.
Love that he literally turns into an animalistic nightmare, so scary that the whole gang just leaves in fright, allowing him to be dismissed. And with that done, it's time to lock in, Velma showing up with a vehicle to add to their speed. Don't worry, they put on knee and elbow pads first for safety, and boy did they go fast. So much that they just missed Scoob getting kicked out of this place. Lost, hungry, and alone.
You're not lost, because I found you.
He runs off and tries to bike away, but this woman just pops up behind him, so he speeds up and knocks her into the air and onto the clothesline.
I'll get your head yet.
As Scooby crashes and leaves to try and find home, he also leaves behind his dog tag, while the gang continue their search without results. Well, Fred did see the tag and just didn't say anything until now, which they all make sure to celebrate, being the first ever clue he's found to date. They reverse to check it out, and even without her computer around, Velma still does the computing herself to figure out which way he went, proving we really don't need AI. Out on this foggy dock, meanwhile, Scoob cuts through all this mist in classic fashion, but unfortunately someone else knows this gag and cuts as well, being the mad woman chasing him, following once more. The gang themselves have made it to the dock by now, and just as Daff says there's nothing to be afraid of, they see something to be afraid of. I do love that Shaggy's regret in his perceived final moment is being unable to tell Scooby how sorry he is. The thing closes in, but hearing Freddy mention the eel people, a scared Scoob pops his head out, relieving them nonchalantly until they really take in that it being Scoob means they found him. Shaggy goes in for the hug, but Scoob points out he hurt his feelings, so he and the others let him know how much they really do care and missed him this entire time.
Well, actually, I missed you too.
Well, I missed you too.
But I've got you now.
And maybe I can use parts of your friends too.
As they run off and start a chase, we do what Pup loves as it gives us a groovy chase song everyone has to occasionally stop and dance through.
Look out when she's coming. Look out when she's coming.
They finally catch a break, and Scoob tells the others that she wants his head. Worse, Freddy says Jinkies.
He must have a plan.
Oh, no.
He tries. Boy, does he try his best, sweet summer child. But he does tap in Velma, and they huddle to hear her plan. As the woman wanders the dock, they take her to a big cruise captained by Scooby, plopping her in a chair and pinning her down with a life raft.
I want his head, and no one's going to stop me!
I love this little moment of them briefly turning into mermaids as she does pretty much the exact Ursula laugh. Perfect moment, really. As she chases them off, Velma finds another clue that seems to put things in place, while it seems the Mad Lady has the others.
Scooby-Doo, where are you?
Scoob immediately jumps to the defense of his friends and tells the woman enough, but Velma politely tugs him away. According to her, everyone is actually perfectly safe here, saying this woman isn't what she appears to be. And no, Fred's guess that she's the queen of the eel people is not correct.
Who is this guy?
No, she's not Red Herring either, who happens to be passing by on a boat to mock Freddy. With magazine proof in hand, Velma explains she's Paula P. Casso, famous artist, which she realized when she saw a paintbrush fall out of the woman's pocket and recognized that red on Scooby's suitcase was paint, not blood. So she wanted Scooby's head, but just to paint it for one of her portraits.
When I saw the perfect shape of Scooby's head, I guess I got carried away.
She apologizes for scaring them all, and asks properly if he wouldn't mind posing for her, which he is perfectly fine with under the correct understanding. Back at the treehouse, they all have a special welcome home party for their friend to make up for how they treated him, promising they'll never be too busy for him again now. They also have the painting and decide to reveal it, the final result being, well, it's Picasso, I suppose.
Paintings are nice, but there's just no substitute for my pal, a pup named
Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
And that's doggone Scooby, with our villain Paula P. Casso. I certainly don't stop and talk about anything to do with this series enough. It's not as though I don't like it. I grew up with the series on DVD, the original volume releases before the season sets no less, and I watched it just as much as the original show. I'm very highly nostalgic for it. But now as an adult, please don't make me think about the age I'm turning this year that has a 0 in it, by the way. I do tend to find myself just preferring other areas of the franchise over this one. Like many shows at the time turning characters into kids to be more relatable to younger audiences, this one is very much toned down and more child-friendly than anything else the franchise had done to that level by then. I'd argue even counting Scrappy. It feels very harmless with low stakes and doesn't really fit what I'm looking for when I come to Scooby personally. It's just a little too childish for me. When I watched the original show, yeah, I'm a big adult watching a kid's show and talking about it on the internet, but watching this one, I really feel like I'm a big adult watching a kid's show. And honestly, watching a lot of these 80s shows from around this exact time at the end of the decade, I don't like a lot of them. They don't personally resonate with me and give me almost a weird feeling I can't describe, and this show falls into that same area. It's really just a me thing. So ultimately, I tend to have a hard time finding topics within this one that interest me enough to swerve over here. I think this episode has a lot of interesting facets though. Outside of even the villain, this one does have better stakes to pull you in with, I would say. Scooby feeling neglected and running away, and not only seeing how miserable he is, but seeing his friends realizing how harsh they were and grieving him, and trying desperately to find him. It gives the episode something for you to care about, and it makes it all the more fulfilling when they finally reunite and get to make it up to him. It also has some fun moments like the origin of Scooby loving Scooby snacks, or a monumental moment like Fred finding his first clue. I think something I don't love about this show is also the personalities. I know people often have issues with the personality changes in Mystery Incorporated, but this is the show with that kind of thing that bothers me personally. Fred really isn't even the same character. He never feels like the same person, so I've never really resonated with him here, and I don't really like his personality and recurring jokes. I think this episode handles it better than some of them though. With how often he makes Shaggy cry, the show seems more aware he's part of the problem, even as much as they dog on him in the other episodes. Anyway, separating Scooby from the others, and having the mystery actually be finding him instead of trying to go after a villain you need to unmask, really does make this episode stand out in a unique way. And yet we do have a villain smartly having her chase Scooby individually, so that he has a secondary issue on top of running away and getting lost, making his choice to do so even scarier. Stranger danger! And obviously that's what really makes the episode memorable, the performance given for Paula here. Pat Carroll by this point in her life had such a perfect voice for a good villain if she wanted to use it for that, and I think we are all glad she tapped into it for Ursula. And even though that movie had not fully hit theaters just yet, I love that you can hear that Ursula influence all over this character already, down to the laugh. The character doesn't necessarily do anything menacing, so of course the paint on her looks like blood. It's what she says and how she says it that makes her scary, and nobody else but Pat Carroll could probably make it quite so ominous as she does here. She does sound like a mad woman enough to make Scooby appropriately believe that he has a reason to fear her, and a pretty good design to match that is appropriately unhinged. You could argue that her look isn't all that different from her Picasso-inspired painting style. It's no wonder people would remember her with a voice like that, and it's also interesting because you do have a genuinely off-putting villain who actually turns out to not be a bad guy at all, just a little overexcited about her next subject for a painting. It's rare to have an episode of any iteration, outside of the real Monster Scrappy era obviously, where you don't have an unmasking. I think that one makes this one pretty memorable as well. She's a villain, but she's not supernatural or unmasked. You've got a good mix of very different things from any other episode of the show, or most others for the franchise. So if there's another episode worth stopping to talk about finally, this is definitely one of those. If you missed the last one I talked about last year, definitely go check that one out, another very iconic villain of the show in 4-letter or worse. And if we really like talking about this one, maybe there are some other weird or interesting or even scary episodes worth giving a little spotlight to in the future. I know I wrote down some that people wanted to see, like this. Anyway, I think we've had a decent amount of fun with this one for the day, so I won't make it stay any longer. Before we go though, let's all pressure Warner to put that HD remaster of the show back on streaming or on Blu-ray or something so we can talk about the show with much better quality, please. I manifested that for the 80s trilogy movies by saying they'd never release better versions of those, and then immediately we got the Blu-rays. Never happier to look a fool. If you like this video, like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. The Patreon is now live if you want to support the channel directly. We have some extras as thanks for support, like the Zombie Island video, the Witch's Ghost video, covering more episodes of Clue Club, and I just started the new Patreon exclusive Wheel of Scooby series. You can find out what that is over there and other such things. Whatever comes next, I'll see you then, I suppose. Bye!